Michael, just a couple of ones, just briefly looking back, and I would have thought just getting over the line, getting the crowd behind you, they were huge things for you on Tuesday night to get that result.
Yeah, it's pleasing. I think before the game, 3 points was the most important thing. Didn't matter how we did it. Thought we'd come out of the blocks, blitz them for the first half an hour. Probably should have been more than 2 up. And then, obviously, because of what's happened, obviously, in recent times in terms of losing leads and then obviously missing out on the points, made it a little bit nervous towards the end. But, yeah, pleased with the reaction of the players, pleased with the reaction of the crowd. And, yeah, hopefully that'll be a sign of things to come.
And in terms of your style of play, I mean, a lot of people talk about Cohen's run, but if you watch the video going back a little bit, you know, the pass on the turn from John Marquis, if people say to me, what's a Michael Appleton goal? I would say that's a Michael Appleton goal.
Yeah, and there's been lots of them. And obviously when we're looking to sign players and bring players in, we show them various examples of, I've lost count of the amount of times that we've scored goals from our own goal kicks in terms of, you know, going through the back four, through the midfield and actually, you know, get on the end of it and score in the opposition's box. So, yeah, look, goals to come from anywhere, at any time, in any kind of way, between now and the end of the season, just to get the job done. But, yeah, that one was a pleasing one.
And the importance of Joe Walsh to you really showed, not just in his defensive play, which was always pretty good, but also that ability to bring the ball forward, which for the way you're trying to play football is so important to you. You kind of realise why it's so vital to try and get him ready for Wembley, and perhaps then the impact it's had on you going forward until recently.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like towards the end of last season, that's the frustrating thing. He was fine. He was available to play in the semi-finals. But, you know, we stuck with the players that have been fit and available going into the back end of the season, and it was fair to them. But you could see, obviously, I was desperate to get him on in them games. And then I think that the balance that he gives us, obviously, with being left-sided, you could see the importance that he is to the team. And, yes, he's capable of travelling and using the space for the ball. But first and foremost, he's an aggressive defender. And when he's named on the team sheet, you know, I think the rest of the players respond to that.
Dealing with set pieces and perhaps teams that try and stop you playing out from the back has been a challenge for some of your younger players. Is that what you'd expect from Wycombe? I mean, I've not seen them this season, but normally a Gareth Ainsworth team are going to sit on your players, and you know, like the League City team that Gareth would have played in under John Beck, they're very good at set pieces.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you know, and we've spoken to the players about this, and I mean this with the genuine greatest respect. Gareth's been there 8 or 9 years now and done ever so well for Wycombe. But, you know, the lads are about to face tomorrow something they probably haven't faced this season. You know, we know that, you know, they've got the shortest amount of passes, etc., consecutive passes, and, you know, they probably are the most direct team in the league. Well, they are. Facts and stats tell us that. But they do it really well, and they've got a lot of experience. The likes of Hanlon and Bolts up top, and Akinfenwa. But they've got some really good footballers as well. You know, McCleary, fantastic footballer. Thompson, you know, obviously they bought the boy wing in midfield as well who can play. So they get the ball forward really, really quickly, and they get the ball forward quicker than any other team in this division, and they bombard you with aerial duels. But once the ball's in the opposition's half of the field, obviously they've got ability to put the ball in the right areas, whether that's from a cross or a pass. So really, really difficult game. One that we're going to have to stand up and try and match them. There's no way they will win the duel stats, that they'll beat his hands down. But what we have to be is we have to be competitive. And then on the top of that, we have to show composure and play our own game.
So does that make it a second ball game in some extent? If then you can't win the duels, you're looking for maybe the bits and pieces that come out of those duels?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, I want us to be really competitive with the first one. But the reality is stats and history tells us, and you look at their group, you know, we're not going to win as many as they are. They're going to be dominant in that area. And by the way, they're dominant in most games that they play against the opposition as well. So But what we have to do, we have to be cute, we have to be clever, we have to recognise when we can counter-attack, we have to recognise when we have to have a spell with the ball, and hopefully the players can do that.
And have they now entered that group of clubs a little bit right? Rotherham, Doncaster used to be on it, but seem to maybe have fallen away, where if you're sort of maybe at the top of League One, but you're also able to get in the Championship, you start to compete in that sort of area over a period of time.
Yeah, I mean, it looks that way. Obviously, Rotherham have done fantastically well again. Obviously, Paul Ward does it brilliantly in terms of making sure that he's got a group that are really competitive when they're in the Championship. And I know they've missed that a few times in terms of being relegated at the first attempt back down to League One. But you can see again this season the group that they've got. It's difficult to stop at times, and Gareth with his group is no different in the sense that they're similar in their approach. And listen, at the end of the day, each to their own, and whatever suits and whatever whatever you see is the best way and how you want the game to be played, and that's the good thing about football, that there's no one way and one system of playing. I have a certain philosophy on football and how I want to play, and I think I like to see my teams play, and other managers will have different, and I completely 100% respect that, because at the end of the day, there's different ways of getting success, and as Paul has shown and as Gareth has shown, the way they do things with their football clubs, they've had success with it.
Just finally on Wycombe, you mentioned Gareth's longevity. Incredible at any level of football, but certainly in the Football League, to have that longevity. I can only think of a certain manager at Accrington, albeit over 2 spells, who'd probably come close. It says something about the job he's done for that football club, doesn't it? Yeah,
no, listen, he's done great. I remember watching a game, let's say 8 or 9 years ago, when they were sort of fighting to stay in the Football League, and the atmosphere at the game at the time was brilliant, and where they've come since then to where they are now, Gareth has done a great job there. There's no doubt about that. Like I say, he's got his style, his way. People know it. They accept it, and he's built on that year on year. And the reality is to stay in a job and stay at a club for as long as what he has done. He's had to have success during that time. And he's built relationships whether it's with the fans, whether it's with the board or the actual group of players he's got. So, like I say, big respect.